Hello everyone, it's Nanny Moo and Papa Dunk, and today we're at St Margaret's Church in Fernhurst, Fernhurst being in West Sussex. St Margaret's Church was named after the patron saint, St Margaret of Antioch, and it is believed that the church's name came from one of the Crusaders. The church is of a Norman origin, though there is not a lot left of that Norman legacy, and the name of Fernhurst has dated back to Saxon times. So one might wonder whether there was a place of worship on this site in the Saxon times. St Margaret's is a smallish church. One might say perfectly formed. And not far from the church is a Commonwealth graveyard. And here is a plaque to George Harvey Rankin, who was the priest of this parish, but killed in France, November the 20th, 1917. Some wonderful stained glass windows. Afraid I'm not really up on my historical church architecture, but just standing here you can sense a lot of the history over centuries, and the transformation of this church over those centuries as well. The latest being, I guess, well, certainly in the 20th century, but in the 19th century by Anthony Salvin, who was quite renowned for lots of different restoration projects, both of castles, cathedrals, Durham Cathedral, Norwich Cathedral, Wells Cathedral, and shortly before his death, St Margaret's of Fernhurst. Wonderful tapestry here, probably made by some local children from the school, perhaps. But Anthony Salvin actually died in North Chapel, which is not that far from here, and he is buried in Fernhurst. I'm going to see if we can find where he is buried. But the restorations in Victorian times did actually cause quite a lot of controversy, and one of the strongest voices of that controversies was from William Morris, which we know as a textile designer, artist, poet, etc. Part of the arts and craft movements. And William Morris and some of his contemporaries felt that the restoration in the Victorian times was quite brutalistic and was not in keeping with the spirit of some of these older parishes, and certainly in terms, not keeping in the spirit in the terms of the church's history. So it was restoration not within the spirit of the history of the site which was being restored. I don't know how much of that is true, but certainly here at St. Margaret's, it's been tastefully restored. Of course, it's changed over the centuries. But like many of these Saxon Norman churches, a real feeling of serenity in the churches. Moving over to the font here, it's believed, alongside some of those windows on the north side of the church, that this font is of Norman times. Certainly it looks to have some age in it. I'm guessing the top there may have been a later addition, but how later, I don't really know. So this is the inside of the church. Really very quiet, peaceful, and a beloved church. But as with all beloved churches, it takes time and money to keep up the restoration and the upkeep. So Papa Dunk and I always feel that we should give a small donation as an appreciation of our visit to the churches that we do visit. Let's go outside and see what the grounds of the church have in store for us. Just tucked away here, the tombstone of Charles Edward, who died in September on the 11th, 1866, only 19 years old. And here we have the burial site of Anthony Salvin. From Hawksfold, Sunderland. It's not as ornate as I was expecting. He died on the 17th of December 1881. And next to Anthony Salvin is the graveyard, the grave of Osbert Salvin, which was Anthony's third son. So both buried in the Fernhurst graveyard, which is also a Commonwealth War graves place. So that's rather special that we have found Anthony Salvin's last place of rest. Let's see what else we can find. Another find in this Fernhurst graveyard is that of Admiral Arthur Mellish, CB. I'm guessing there's an E, not on the tombstone, but Admiral Mellish was associated with Anthony Salvin. And what did he say, Papa Dunk, that his...
He was a friend of Charles Darwin's. He had a stint on the Beagle with him. He was also a friend of the son of Anthony Salvin, Osbert. But he moved to Fernhurst, and he actually ironically called Anthony Salvin's buildings, even though he moved onto land belonging to the architect Anthony Salvin, but he called Anthony Salvin's buildings the ugliest houses I ever saw. So it's a bit ironic that he's buried within 6 feet of the man he was criticising so much.
And that, viewers, is why I love graveyards. So many stories untold, yet to be discovered, perhaps discovered but hidden. Just fantastic.